Hello, my name is John Brink and we are here in Prince George, the capital of northern BC. It's a beautiful day outside, a little bit cool. It's around 12 below for those that live in the warmer parts of the world, and a beautiful spring day more or less here. And we have two exciting guests today. It is Renee and Nikki, and they are friends and they are very, very special. They are the founders of NorthSoulFit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Tell us a little bit first about yourself, Renee, and then Nikki, and then Renee.
So I'm Nikki. I have two teenage boys. We
How old are they?
They are 18 and 16.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm a dental hygienist by trade, and we started our little passion project here, which is NorthSoulFit. So we do content creation, and we're online personal trainers.
You do, what do you do? You said?
Content creation.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
so what is that all about?
So basically, businesses like yourself will contact us, and they say, like with your book, for instance, you wanted us to read your book, so you gave us a contact, and we read your book for you, and then we talk about it on our social media page, or we do other posts for local businesses in town. We'll try their products. We'll create posts that we advertise on our social media page to all of our followers, and then that's part of our business.
And you do I've never heard of a business like that before, in the sense that it was a business.
Yeah.
And then you do that online as well.
Yeah, that's actually it's pretty common business in the online world, especially on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. This content creation. Yeah. It's basically a form of marketing, really. It's the new way of marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
Things are changing all the time.
Yes.
It was not so long ago that I had no idea what TikTok is. I'm still not claiming that I know, although we hired somebody to work with us on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world, a very interactive world, and so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's ever evolving. And so you do that on a part-time basis?
Yeah. Our primary businesses were online coaches.
Yeah.
So that's our primary business, but we really love the creative aspect that the content creation allows us to, to be given a brand, and then to think of, what that marketing strategy is going to look like, how we're going to present that on our page, how that fits, how that brand fits into our brand. It's, it's really exciting. We love the creative part of it. So
and so you're not limited to a particular market. It could be worldwide.
Yeah, exactly.
For all intents.
Exactly. Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, and our brand is really about living a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So we've done content stuff for Freshie. We've done for a local company, Chico's Chicken, here in town, which people don't associate with a fitness brand, but we're all about balance, and sometimes you take your kids to the lake and you grab some fried chicken on the way.
Interesting. So Renee, tell me a little bit about yourself as well.
I was born and raised in Prince George.
Yeah.
I met my husband when I was 17, so we've been together a long time, and we have two beautiful daughters. My daughter is 18. We actually were pregnant together with both our children, and my youngest is 15. I am an EA in the school district, and I have been an EA for about 15 years.
EA is?
As an educational assistant.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now I'm an EA3, so I actually work with children who are hard of hearing throughout the district.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and my secondary passion is NorthSoulFit.
Yeah, and you guys have been doing this for, I think it was a couple of years ago that we engaged you, and you did a beautiful review of the book, and you did your job well, because you asked good questions, and you have amazing personalities. So I thought it was very, very exciting.
And I have to say, we'll talk about your book really quick.
Yeah.
I actually listened to the audiobook version of your book on a road trip with I think they were 17 and 15 so they were in the car when I listened to it, and even my teenagers loved it. So there you go.
That speaks well, right?
They really, they were really intrigued with your whole story, and just thought the whole thing was
Well, the history, the richness of your book, of where you started. Right?
When it was over, they were like, "Huh, that was really good. We really liked it."
So the key is, that was the first book that I ever wrote, and I said it took me 80 years to live it.
Yeah.
20 years to think about it, 2 years to write it, and so it came out last year sometimes, and then I did another one that is coming out July the 8th, and again we will engage you guys for all the same reasons. Yeah. So it's a real challenge, writing a book. It's just not okay. I'm going to start writing a book. It is so involving in terms of how do you go about it? I started it probably 20 times and then did one section after another, and then it kind of, I didn't feel it was flowing well, and then started over again and over all those years. And then finally said, if I'm not going to do it now, it never will happen. So, and I got the team behind me to work with me, which really was the key, right? So, and then the other part, that I thought, that was important, at least for me, in my book. I'm just going to show it to our public that is online, is the, even the design of the book, the size of the book, the different paper that you use. And the other part that is very important in the book, I believe, is that I want to tell this story so that it is not just fragmented in certain areas, but it becomes a story, and hopefully, this one has been quite popular actually, that the story is right, but even more importantly, that I tell the story well enough that it is of interest.
I love that you put your photographs in there, because I feel like you can kind of connect with the times and like what was happening. So I actually really appreciated how you had your little photo gallery in there, just to kind of paint a picture.
And in this book in particular, we did a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
The other one, and since you're so familiar with me now, in my book, all the good, the bad, and the ugly, and really ugly at times. Hey guys, buy it, read it. I'm not going to tell you. Read it. ADHD plays a role in it, and obviously I got diagnosed when I was 58, or found out, self-diagnosed, when I found in books on Ford. I found this book. I don't know for the life of me why I picked it up, and I opened the book, and it was called Driven by Distraction. And I opened the book, and I started looking at it and looking at it. I still don't know why. And the more I read, I thought, oh my God. And then I was there probably for an hour looking at the book. Y'all probably said, are you going to buy it? Are you going to buy it or what? So anyway, so I bought it, and then I wrote on the inside cover in Dutch, now I finally know who I am.
I bet you that was an incredible moment for yourself.
Moment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what it was, for 58 years. I had wondered about all of that, felt even, during periods that I was a failure, and, and in some cases, and that's part of it that happens in life, that, you're being treated sometimes as such, or even, between young people, they can sometimes be hard, and they would ignore you because you're dumb or stupid or whatever, and and I think the good part about it now is that it has become so much more accepted, not totally, but where the stigma is still there in cases, and but people talk about it more freely now.
Yes. Yeah.
And I felt in the book, but also in other presentations that I do, I talk about not only PTSD, the inner child, and then ADHD, and then I thought I have an obligation to write about it, and so that's the next book is all about that. ADHD comes out July the 8th, and the title will be ADHD Unlocked.
Excellent. I like that.
And that's the thing, is when you have a platform of any kind and you deal with whether it's a chronic health condition or a mental health issue, whatever it is, it really kind of does become your responsibility in a lot of ways to have the conversation. I know for me, I deal with a lot of anxiety and depression, and mental health is definitely a prevalent part of my life for sure. And I talk about it on our Instagram a lot. And
you being public about it,
which
is so important, right?
Yeah. And at first, it's really scary and you're kind of apprehensive about it. And it really was scary the first time I put out, especially some of the darker parts of that, put it out there. But the feedback that we've gotten from,
amazing.
It's been unreal. The amount of women primarily, because that's our audience, that have just poured in with messages being like, every time you talk about your struggles on a daily basis or whatever it is, it helps me so much. And for me, I feel like a broken record. Like, okay, hop on Instagram stories again and complain about how anxious you are. But our audience disagrees with me.
We've built a bit of a community where people can be vulnerable and share what they've gone through, and then having those conversations kind of takes away that gross,
the shame.
The
shame of what you're dealing with.
So. The one time, that I was, was May the 31st. May, it's the 31st. One days in May, whatever. End of May. I got the honorary doctorates from the University of Northern British Columbia. Amazing honor.
Yes,
really.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, it was announced also at that same event publicly. Although I knew 2 weeks before that, I got the. If you wonder what this is for the public, it is the Order of BC, and I'm very proud of that.
Yes, as you should be.
And but it was an amazing honor, in UBC, that amazing university in Northern British Columbia, in Prince George, the highest rated small university in Canada, right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Just up that hill.
So I did my presentation. Was the hardest presentation I have ever done, because it was on, I think, a Friday, and so I was ready for it. Obviously a little bit of anxiety about it, although I've done lots of public speaking. But the night before, I got a phone call from Holland. My brother died.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was difficult.
That would be.
And so and then 10 hours later to do my presentation.
Yes.
And it was probably about 500-600 people.
Right.
And so in that presentation, I talked about. I already had that prepared, and that I would talk about it. I talked about. I grew up during the Second World War, and especially now that comes back with what's happening in Europe, and I see that. We were under occupation when I was 5 years old, and saw far too much, and things were difficult. So talked about PTSD, as it happens to even younger children, still have it now. I'm positive about that. And then my dad was in the Second World War. He was drafted in the Dutch Army in April of 1940, and then I've never met the guy. And then 5 years later, we didn't know if he was dead or alive. Wow. And the last time that they saw him was in the bombing in 1940 of Rotterdam, and that's where the last place they saw them. And so we didn't know if he was dead or alive. So my mother had 3 children. Obviously, I was brand new, and then my sister 1 year older, and my brother 2 years older, and so you had to kind of work your way through the worst of times. And, so I talked about those things, and then I talked about ADHD. They must have thought this guy is a basket case.
Believe me, I did not think you were a basket case.
No, not at all.
No, but with the and these things still sometimes, even then in particular, because of the other things, was quite hard on me and to talk about it. But it's on online, and talking about those things, as you were saying, are very important. And I did that then knowingly, and I talked about ADHD in a way that what it meant to me, and since that time I talk about it frequently. And then the next thing came, you have to write the book.
Yeah.
And so I started with that last year.
Yeah.
We are now at the stage that we are now in the final stages of getting it ready for the apprentice, and so we're working deadlines. We got till the end of May to have it this date, that date, that date, and then it will come out on July the 8th.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
I think the more information out there, especially from firsthand experience, is something that people can really connect to. Of course, I look from the youth lens because I work with youth, and I think it's important for youth to know that on the other side, there's so many things that you can accomplish. ADHD doesn't define who you are; it's a part of who you are, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I
cool.
call it a superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I refer to it, because I couldn't do all the things that I'm doing.
No.
I think we got 15 companies, and I'm running like busy, go.
But that's why you can do it, right?
Yeah.
That is why I can do it.
100%,
And I'm not the exception. And then I always say it's amazing what you can do with grade 7.
Yeah.
So obviously, and then the other point that I make, that is different forms of education.
Yes, 100%.
The ones that is formal education, which to me were very, very boring. And I'm saying that respectfully
No, I
because
get it.
my youngest daughter, and I love her dearly. She is is an honorary student in education and teaches in high school in NorthSoulFit. She's very dedicated teacher.
Yeah.
And that form is important, and then obviously more and more it's recognized and be recognized in the education system. That special education is required in areas. I'm still amazed though how often that I talk to people about it, that even in later age say, I've really never talked about this. You brought it up, saying to me, you brought it up, and I had one guy, I was in North Saanich, and I was working on the project, and he was the architect in the project, and it was very good at what he was doing, and so we met and on a Saturday afternoon, and in my office in Victoria, and we were looking at the plans and blah blah blah, and everything looks good, and then from there on in. Somehow we were talking about this book coming out, and then I had given him a copy of that, and then at the same time working on the ADHD book, and he said, "Oh, you never knew about that?" And then the more we talked about it, the more, all of a sudden the guy changed.
Yes.
He said, "I got
Probably
ADHD."
had some aha moments.
Yes.
He said he had never talked about it, really. His wife and him knew. And in fact, they had some trouble inside their marriage.
Yeah.
Now, although they had been married for a long time, this was not, it's at the verge of falling apart.
Yeah.
But he was, on medication, and he didn't really want it. He had whatever it was, Retinol, Adderall, or whatever, and and he had decided just not working for him, so he flashed it down the toilet, and his wife all said, "Well, where are your medications?" And he said,
Bye.
and so she got upset about it because he's trying to fix it.
Yeah.
It's not about fixing it. It is, as you just said, that's who you are. But so for him. So we talked about it quite a bit. When he left, he was emotionally affected by it. No question about that.
Well, it's impactful when you have that, and especially when you connect.
Just to
on
be
those
able
levels.
to talk about
connect,
it together, right?
Yeah.
So,
and we get that, like I said, on messages on our Instagram. We get so many private messages from women just being like, if I talk about my medication or just the shame that's a lot of times associated with struggling with mental health or any of the kind of things that come along, how I manage it on a daily basis. It's just an influx of messages from people being like, I I talk to my doctor because, you know, you were talking about how that was an important part, or, you know, I'm on medication now and I feel like a whole new person. Like,
or strategies.
Yeah, just,
we talk about strategies to how to manage it. And so that's been helpful too. They're like, I never thought of that. Let's try that.
Yeah.
So that's where NorthSoulFit, we kind of have a community that really we try and support one another, even though like we push out and try and share content, but we actually really share.
It's about the community for sure.
Yeah, it's empowering actually.
Yeah.
It's like, that's our superpower. Like, yes, we did it. Like it's incredible.
No, so important. Now with, you're so involved in fitness as well, and both of you are, you know, obviously very fit, and I hope to be there again too. I actually took 2 years off with COVID, and I'm going to go back to the gym on Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
It's our playground.
And then I'm going to train with, I don't know if you know Kendall or not.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Don't know her personally, but from social media.
She's very good, so I'm going to train with her.
Awesome.
Excellent.
That gives me a purpose, because otherwise I can find 100 reasons as to why I can't go to the gym that day at that time. And it has to become an appointment. Now I have to go.
Yes.
You know, because Kendall is standing there. Where is
waiting
he?
for you.
Yes. Not for me. That's how my day starts.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think of the gym as this place that you kind of go for aesthetics. It's some level of vain. It's to look a certain way. But in my experience, it's been a tool to manage my moods and my mental health. It's been a tool to, like, for me, the reason we push weightlifting in particular on women so much is because there's a level of confidence that comes along with knowing that you can deadlift, you know, twice your body weight, or squat 1.5 times your body weight. With being physically strong, you get a confidence as a woman from that.
And it's the foundation to your future. I mean, if you take care of your body now and building that muscle structure,
Exactly.
as
We're
you
making
age,
a deposit.
that's exactly, that's well said. Absolutely. And I give myself 1 hour, that's Renee, like as being a mom and working and all the things in life, I just give myself 1 hour, I put my tunes in and I grind it out, and when I leave, I'm like...
You feel like a whole new person.
Bring on the day, I can take it, let's go.
Yeah. And where do you go?
Good Life. Both of us, actually.
Both Good Life,
Yeah.
I'm going to Gold, but it's basically the same. So the wherever you're most comfortable. But you know, that's what I found. I was training for about 10 years. Initially, I went down there. I had a close medical call, and I nearly didn't make it. And then there's always a shock that gets you into saying, "Okay, I'm gonna have to do this."
It's like your bottom, right?
Yeah.
You have a bottom.
And then started to go to the gym, and then got a trainer, and then started training, and then after about 4 or 5 years, initially I want to. These are intimidating places because you go in there, and you know, in the place that I want to, everybody's perfect. The only one,
that's our perception.
And is the guy that just walked in, this guy, and they're all looking at me and saying, why is he here? You know, so, and then I don't know how to sit on the equipment. And sitting, hey, you should sit on the other way.
At least people are helpful. I mean, if you see someone that's struggling, it's always good to just say, hey, try this.
But what happened to me, and the first time that I went down there alone, you know, I went on the bike, and then I asked this lady, with all due respect, I asked her, I said, how can I do this? And then she said, hire a trainer.
Duly noted.
Got me out of the bag and say, I'll take all my clothes under my arm.
I'll go somewhere else.
I walk out in the car. I have to get out of here. But anyway, you know, and I said that respectfully. Afterwards, I know the fellas quite well that own it, and I mention it to them, not so much the person, but in a general sense, that I thought, but you know, my experience was that I felt intimidated being in the place. So the more comfortable you can make somebody, the better, and then they come back, and so that's what happens to me gradually. You know, after about 4 or 5 years of training and working with good trainers that I had, you know, somebody said, "Have you ever thought about competing?" I said, me? You know, and then gradually from there, and then said, okay, well, I'll try, and then before you know it, you start working a little bit on it.
You feed the beast.
And it's a good feeling, right? So
Yeah, it's very confidence building and empowering. And I know a lot of women are, you know, we speak from a women's perspective, obviously.
Yeah.
That's our audience and that's who we are. But, you know, the gym can be a very intimidating place. But the reality of it is that everybody is in there to work on themselves in one form or another.
Yeah.
And we all started at the beginning. We
Yeah.
all went in there not knowing how to use the row machine or knowing how to use the bike. And, you know, even the most jacked up guy in there started at the beginning at some point, right? So,
exactly.
Well, and everybody's fitness level and their idea of fitness is so different, and so just I think having an accepting environment is you know,
is super important.
Yeah, because everyone's fitness levels are going to be different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And health is so critically important, right?
Yes.
Physically, mentally, obviously, and part of that, you know, being active, and then you know, diet and having a good plan in terms of food is very important too. Talk about that a little bit. You know.
Yeah. So go ahead.
We kind of have a different approach. But I'll let you touch on it. But our approach is there is no good or bad. I feel like there's a lot of negative talk about good food versus bad food, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah, our attitude is sort of, you know, people are like, oh, that's healthy or unhealthy, and what is unhealthy? Like it's a nebulous term. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if you live on McDonald's every day, all day,
that's likely not a good idea.
Not a good idea. But if you have McDonald's occasionally, you're not hurting yourself, right? As if it's part of a balanced lifestyle. And in our experience, the more you tell somebody they can't have something, that something is bad, the more likely they are to have a negative relationship with food, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is something that a lot of women really struggle
Well,
with.
most our clients are like that.
Yeah.
They have that all or nothing, super
mentality.
restrictive, and then once they have one thing, they go off the rails. And so trying to give them the skills to just kind of relax. There's more to it than the good versus bad.
You can still have a glass of wine on your date night. You can still, you know, go to Earl's with your girlfriends and, you know, live a balanced lifestyle. And that's one thing that our clients have kind of given us as feedback is, you know, they always thought in order to achieve a body that they feel good in and to achieve their goals, whether, you know, it's physically or whatever it is, that they had to be really rigid and, you know, black and white about it. And what they've learned through running through our programming and part of our coaching program is, like I said, they can have a glass of wine and it makes it a lot easier to be good. I use that term loosely, 80% of the time. When you're like, oh, you know what? I can enjoy myself. I can go camping with my family. I can, right? Life is no fun without a glass of wine.
And it should be, right?
And we try to teach our clients too that their idea of health and fitness is so unique. So someone's you know, definition of health and fitness could just be feeling good rather than, you know, being a certain number size pant or on the scale. Like it's kind of rebuilding the confident person through fitness and nutrition.
And just living a healthy lifestyle. You know, what women want is to feel comfortable in their own bodies. They want to be somewhat happy, I think, with what they see in the mirror. But they also want to be able to keep up with their kids. They want to be able to, you know, run along on the beach and, you know, throw a beach ball and, you know, they want to be able to do that kind of stuff. And I think with the absence of a healthy diet and exercise, that becomes very, very difficult. Right? Like, I know for me, you know, as an example, you know, usually when we go camping, we go to these very remote places when we go camping. And so we tend to pack like pre-packaged stuff. And by the time we're done that trip, I feel like garbage from eating so poorly the entire time. And really making sure that you're eating a nutritious diet as part of a balanced lifestyle really helps you just to feel good. It helps you feel good mentally, helps you feel good physically. It's just, you know.
Now, a lot of your clients that you have online, do you, what do you do? Do you go through exercise, lifestyles, and all of those things?
We ask all the questions.
To
be honest, nothing's off the table. Like, we want to know everything about you, and we tailor our workout programs and our nutrition to you specifically.
And lots of women come to us, you know, they have they don't necessarily want to be in a gym every day. They like to go for walks, or they like to hike. They have their own idea of what being active means. And so they don't really come to us for the workout programming per se. We definitely, you know, do that and have clients who choose that. But for the most part, what most women struggle with is the nutrition part. How do I eat? When should I be eating? What do I buy at the grocery store? You know, the last thing you want as a busy working mom is to make a meal for yourself and then a whole other meal for your family. Like, who has time to do that?
Really.
We don't.
No.
You know, you want to be able to make one meal, eat in a way that is, you know, helps you work towards your goal, and also is convenient and quick, and feeds your family, and you know what I mean, that the kids are going to enjoy. Kids aren't going to eat broccoli, rice, and boiled chicken breast.
No,
they're not.
We call it one and done. One meal, one family, and you move along.
Yeah, that's what I found a lot of times, you know, when I was in training for competing, is that initially I had somebody do my meals, but I didn't like them. They were not tasty. And, you know, and there's no reason that I've learned since that it cannot be, even if you're preparing for competition. But in life in general, as your client base is likely, you know, how do you, I just want to kind of understand a little bit, how do you attract, they can be all over online, right? How do you attract them initially? How do they find out other than by word of mouth or, you know?
It's Instagram.
It's primarily Instagram.
So we put our content, we have themes each week on our posts.
All under the banner of Fit.
NorthSoulFit, you betcha.
So if you go to NorthSoulFit on Instagram, you'll see educational posts on everything from how to enjoy a night out guilt-free to, you know, how the importance of protein, like what is protein? Why is it important in your diet? To sort of more, you know, we talk about mental health on those posts. So we attract a lot of clients through Instagram and then of course word of mouth. But I would say primarily our main source of sort of lead generation, I'll call it, is through Instagram.
So and when do you interact with your clients? Is it on a daily basis?
Yes.
And,
so
how many hours or?
Well, so we post to our main feed 3 times a week, and that's, like I said, like educational content.
Is that on a website?
It's on Instagram.
Instagram.
On Instagram, so there'll be, like, if you're familiar with Instagram, there'll be like a picture, and then there'll be, like, usually we'll do like a carousel post, so you can swipe, and there'll be information on each photo, so to speak.
Interesting.
And then we do Reels, which is another Instagram feature. It's short videos, they're 1 minute or less.
And we have lots of fun with those.
We have lots of fun with those. That's sort of where we get to show more of our personality.
You see, I don't know much about Instagram other than that's where all my pictures are. That's all I know about.
It's a lot of fun. There's
and there are a whole lot of pictures there, about 5,000 of them. And I go through there and look at it, but for the rest, I don't know what else is there.
We use it to speak to our audience. So if someone says, I'm really struggling with X, then we will collaborate. We're like, hey, why don't we put a post on X so then more people can learn about it, or we do workouts. But primarily our coaching, we do one-on-one weekly like check-ins. We do video calls, so we have a conversation face-to-face because then we can really connect and dive into things that they're really struggling.
On a one-to-one basis?
So basically women they'll find us on Instagram, they'll message us on Instagram, and then we set up a video call because we want to meet our potential clients. We want to know that we're a good fit for you and that you're a good fit for us. Right? And usually from there they become clients, and then
is that on a fee for service basis?
It's a per month basis that we charge for our coaching, and we're very, very hands-on. We really think that the more knowledge, there's so much misinformation out there when it comes to nutrition, right? Like, oh, you can't eat after 6 p.m. or
the calories change in an apple.
So we likely will, I hope to say, we will have probably in excess of 20,000 people watching this show. But would you be comfortable to tell me approximately what it would cost a month?
Yeah, absolutely. So our nutrition coaching is $250 a month. And like I was saying before, that's personalized macro coaching. So we set up your personal calorie targets and macro targets. That's weekly check-ins with us. We do bi-weekly video calls. We're very hands-on.
Maybe a little
very hands-on. We just think people need support when they're making a big change. And then the second offer that we have is nutritional and training coaching. So you get a new workout program every 6 weeks on top of the nutritional coaching. And that package is $350 a month.
So the one, would the one be in combination with the other, or could it be, or is it all the same?
So the one is just nutrition. And then the other one is nutrition and training. And that's $350 a month. And then the setting would be that both of you are on. Then
they get both of us.
They get both of us. Because we bring something different to the table. I'm a science nerd. I know all of the little science stuff. I'm very much like, what does the current body of scientific evidence tell us? Right? It's not about the keto diet or intermittent fasting or any of that. So that's my perspective. And Renee's very much emotional.
A feeler. I'm a feeler. Like I mean, with my training, I've done trauma training, so I've done lots of different training. So I try and hit the emotional piece, which is, for me, equally important.
It is,
and it's kind of my wheelhouse. I started my journey on an emotional, like physical injury, so I can relate to a lot of our clients in that regard. Where Nikki is a walking encyclopedia. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh.
So what is the setting then? Are you guys together someplace?
So we do it online. So we typically,
you are at home and you're at home,
and we do Zoom meetings with our clients. So we really like to sit down. I know not all coaches like to do this. It's the one-on-one Zoom meetings, but we just have found that when you can sit down with your girlfriends and just talk frankly about your struggles, there's a lot more like aha moments that happen with that, right? You tend to learn a lot more.
Well, they feed off into new questions and like new aha moments. And because of COVID, we've done the Zoom, and we might keep it that way. And once things open it up, then we might spend more time and hit our meetings together. But we're trying to do the whole COVID protocols too.
And the reality is Renee kind of brought up a big point with the eating from an emotional perspective. Is the reality is that food isn't just about nourishing your body. There's a social aspect to food. There's an emotional aspect to food. Right? And we, like lots of women, deal with binge eating, right? With, over restricting their calories, and there's a huge emotional attachment to that. They feel a lot of guilt and a lot of shame when they don't look a certain way, or, if they eat beyond what they think they should be eating. And that's a huge value that Renee is able to bring to the equation that is super relatable. I'm so sciencey in my brain. I have a hard time with that. I'm just being completely honest. And that's her strength, 110%. And sometimes I sit back and I'm like,
I had I've never really shared it openly too much, but like at one point in my life, didn't look like this either. So I've had a weight loss journey. So I've been there.
Tell them how much. Just do it.
Now I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know, that's what you need to do.
I've probably taken like 60 pounds off my body, and I've kept it off. And so I have like tips and tricks, but I've also mentally have gone through a transformation that I try to really project to our clients. Like it's okay, there is an ending, and it's not going to be linear. Nothing is linear. And so just expect those speed bumps, but we're there to hold their hand as they jump over, and
that a lot of times is what is missing, right? That support system along the side, especially the ones that are not too close, that may not necessarily, sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, not being supportive as they need to be, and or to have other women talk to women.
It's the connection piece. Even with your when you were doing your design with your friend, like when you had that conversation, you had that connection, and you impacted him. Similar things happen when you have that connection with that person. Like, I feel you. And it's okay. And so that is the part that really resonates with our clients, and that's what makes us feel good, and like that's the bread and butter for me.
So are your clients then maybe mainly women?
They're all women.
All women.
We wouldn't say no to a man. But our target audience is women. whether that's on social media or within our coaching business itself. You know, like I said before, we are women, obviously. We come from a female perspective. We know what it's like to be a female and the pressures that are put on us every day, and that what our experience is like. And we want to be able to just create a community of women where we're sharing our similar experiences. To be honest, I can't relate to a man. I'm not a man.
So if I came with my whole bucket full of problems that you know now about, came to you, I'd probably get you depressed.
It's pretty hard to get me depressed. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, I would give it a good run.
You can give it a good run. I'm on some pretty good medication.
No, I'm just going. So where does it all go from here? Because it sounds to me like, this is something really that to me feels like is required. And would make a whole lot of individuals, the way you guys deal with it and the personalities that you have and the knowledge that you have, create comfort in somebody's life. So the social media is there for it, and you have. So where does it go from here? Because I believe it can expand much further. And the sky is the limit, or there's no boundary in terms of saying it's up to Hickson and Mackenzie. No, it's the world potentially.
It's worldwide domination.
Yeah, we don't have it. We never talked about the end because we don't see an end. Like that's our goal is to help as many as we can. And I'm going to say this, like we want clients and we want to give them all the knowledge, and then we're like, go be free and take the skills.
We want people to learn.
To get the reward from it, really. It's not just financial.
No, like we want you to learn all the things you can and let us help you, and then we want you to venture off, and then we want the next group. We just want to keep educating women.
We really started NorthSoul because we sort of found ourselves, I'm approaching 40 rapidly, and our kids are they're teenagers, they're 16 and 18, and you find yourself as a woman at this particular stage of life with all of this free time, and you've spent the last 18 years of your life dedicated to somebody else. And for us, we found we were kind of like, now what do we do?
Now what?
And we kind of looked to the world, and there really wasn't a community tailored to women in our stage of life. Right? It was, if you're 20, there's a whole world out there on social media for you. There's a million and one, and God bless a 20-year-old, but if you're a 40-year-old mom with a career and a couple of kids and maybe some stretch marks and all that comes along with being an aging woman, there's nothing out there for you, and we really just wanted to bridge that gap and create a community.
I think the two of you have unique personalities, and you are, which is obvious, not only working together, but you're friends. And that comes that's part of who you guys are.
We've been friends since we were 6.
Since we were 6.
She's like, I have an identical twin sister and another sister, so she's like the other sister. She's my partner in crime, my PIC.
So where did the name come from, NorthSoul?
Honestly, we were just brainstorming one day. We wanted something that really spoke to the community that we live in. We're Northern girls at heart. We love fishing and hunting and camping and everything that BC specifically has to offer. And we just felt like what is the Northern soul? And then we were just like, NorthSoul. And then fit was an obvious, because we're all about living a healthy lifestyle, regardless of what that looks like. We just want everybody
love, like Nikki said, the outdoors. Like you can get us out fishing.
That's our girls trip. We go ocean fishing.
We live on a boat for 4 days. So like, peace out.
We don't go to the mall. We don't go partying. We go ocean fishing for 4 days.
Fun.
Fun.
Where does it go from here?
We just want to continue to grow the community, honestly. We want to continue to grow our Instagram and our coaching business. We want to reach as many women as possible. That's really our goal.
Is there a limit to the amount of people that you can have part of your organization in terms of being able to serve them? Or does your model then have to change into something
Yes
not
and no.
else,
Yeah.
but that is modified to
Modified
to how to address
yes.
that, right?
The model will have to change right now because we're, the coaching business is relatively new. We actually just launched the coaching business in January of this year. So there will come a point, hopefully, where the model will have to change. We will always have our one-on-one client base. But we're hoping that at some point in the future we can have more of a group membership model. So you'd pay a subscription to an app. You would get all the same support and stuff. It just wouldn't be.
Yeah, this part wouldn't change. Like
so you're exploring already.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
The other model and what would that look like and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So if you say coaching, what are you referring to?
The nutrition and the training coaching.
Yeah. In both.
In both. Yeah.
It does not go beyond that into other areas then.
I mean,
it's
like the weather here in Prince George. One day it's one, and the other day it's another. We don't know. I think we took a leap, and so far it's just been an incredible process and journey. And so I feel like cutting it off at one goal would be dangerous.
Yeah, we just want to hit as many women as possible. I know something that we've talked about is, like I was saying before, there's so much misinformation out there about dieting and nutrition. We've talked a lot about doing like online courses, like teaching women, what is a protein, what is a carb, what is a macro, like what do you have to do to lose body fat, what do you have to do to gain muscle. There's just to really be able to provide people with accurate information is something that we really want to be able to continue to do. So I see that in our future for sure. Yeah.
See, the other thing that I see in you guys is that, guys, I say respectfully, obviously, is that you're very good communicators. And have you thought about the speaking circuit?
Well, I actually am not going to lie. Even in high school, if I had to do a speech, I actually got a 0. I wouldn't even talk in front of anybody. And I even said to Nikki, I'm like, I am super nervous. I've never really thought that, but actually this experience that we're having right now, you may have tweaked a little spark that's maybe there's a little bit more in this
and for me, I had any fear of personal or of public speaking tortured out of me during my college and university days. So I'm very comfortable with public speaking. And so we're kind of open to any opportunity that is presented to us to.
Because you're very presentable in terms of you're such a team, and then the topics that you have are very extremely popular, and would work well, in my opinion, in larger settings where where you address, in particularly those issues that you're talking about. In terms of public speaking, I must admit that up to about 1990, and I already was claimed to be. People say, "Oh, you're very successful." I didn't feel that way at all. And then one of the problems that I had is that I could not really function in a setting where there were more than 3 people. And if it was in my own area, it was okay, but otherwise I couldn't. And then by coincidence, my then sister-in-law dragged me to Toastmasters. She said, "Just go there for one visit." I said, "Is anybody going to ask me any questions?" "Absolutely not." And I said, "Okay, I'll go. I'll go there." Then I sat there, and then somebody said, "Okay, John, who are you? Can you please tell us?" And I said, "Oh my God." Anyway, so then I said, "I'll never go back here." And then somehow she got me down there for the second time, and I stayed for 10 years, and I became at the highest level in Toastmasters International. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. That's as high a level as you can get in Toastmasters. And, so I probably was the absolute worst case that in all those years, I've seen many new people coming in that had issues with public speaking and blah, blah, blah. And they said, "I'm not very good, blah," and all. But all that time, I've never seen anybody as bad as me that had such an anxiety about it. And, but it changed my life.
And it feels good to overcome a fear like that, right?
Changed my life.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like the gym, right? You overcame that fear, and then you did a show, right?
Yeah, and then with Toastmasters, that they made me more successful in business. In combination, then understanding ADHD, and then turning it into the superpower that it is. The combination of all of it, became changed my life actually. In the 10 years. But by then, it was 2000, and I was already well into my 60s. And kind of a late bloomer, I guess, So, but now I'm, regularly presenting in larger settings, and I love
saying that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would die.
And at the same time, writing, so the becoming more public about it, So
that's actually something that we have talked about in the past, is sort of like toying with the idea, and it's something that I see us doing in the future is a podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
I think our dynamic, we're kind of opposites in a lot of ways. We're two sides of the same coin. So I think our dynamic and just the message that we have, and, I think, the different strengths that we bring to the table make us relatable. And I think it's something that we've talked about, is doing a podcast.
I think that would be a very good idea, because, both of you, you are a pair in terms of you complement each other, you present well in terms of, and the topics that you have are very, very important and would draw a lot of attention. And, so that I would certainly encourage you to do that. So.
Yeah, well, thank you. We appreciate
thank you
it.
very
Vote
much.
of confidence.
No, very much so. So anything else that comes to mind that we should talk about?
Something that actually popped into my mind when you were talking about your fear of public speaking is it's just interesting. It's something I've learned in the last couple of years, is how important it is to make your weaknesses your strengths, to propel yourself off of those weaknesses into, that really is part of the secret sauce of success.
There is no question about that. And that is in speaking. And at the same time, what I'm saying is that obviously English is not my first language. And then at the same time, I failed grade 3. Nobody fails grade 3. And then I failed grade 7 3 times. So when I came off the bus here in July of 1965 with my suitcase, couldn't speak the language, didn't know a soul, didn't have a job, but I had a dream to build my own lumber mill. And obviously the one reason that I want to go to Canada, because we were liberated by the Canadians. They were, I wanted to go, right from there on forward, in the mornings when they would feed us bread with butter and cheese, and everybody was called Johnny, although we didn't speak the language. And then from that point forward, and I was 5 years old, I always knew I would go to Canada, the land of my heroes. And then I wanted to build a sawmill, and then I had to start over, because I felt like I had been a failure, and I had to start over from the bottom with nothing. And then so when I came off the bus, I had $25.47. What do you think the price of the book is?
$25.47.
Okay, can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
What do you think the price of the next book is?
$25.47.
Well, you got it. So in any event, so I came off the bus, and then from there on in, so in terms of writing a book with somebody as grade 7, really, even if you did it 3 times in a row, it still didn't make you somebody that can. So it comes all back to the same as you said earlier, to build on your weaknesses, and that you can do it. And if your mind, you set your mind to it, and I believe that is the way in many, many other areas.
It's the fuel to the fire.
It is, absolutely.
Renee, Nikki, it was my pleasure.
It was our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It was excellent.
Yeah,
it was lots of fun.
Perfect.